Well, good evening, everybody. We are live from the Tinkering Studio and from Monique and Sheila, who are joining us. We're here today to share with you a few things. We have actually quite a packed schedule. What we're going to do is introduce ourselves very briefly and then engage you all that are following along, hopefully, in a quick tinkering activity that you can do from home. Um, After that, I will tell you a little bit about tinkering and the Tinkering Studio and how that applies to the early childhood context. And then we'll watch a wonderful video that showcases Monique and Sheila's practice and how they apply tinkering in their practice. And finally, we'll have some time to hear their reflections about that experience. Throughout this, if you have questions or comments or things that you want us to know, as you know, you should use the chat function. We'll do our best to monitor that and to respond to everything that we can at the end if there is time. But please don't hesitate to interact with us that way. And for the activity that's going to be introduced in just a minute, it would be helpful if you have some source of light with you. Your phone might be just fine because it has a flashlight. Maybe a blank white piece of paper and something to draw on and some objects that might cast some interesting shadows. This will all become more clear in just a few minutes. But I'm going to formally start introducing myself. My name is Luigi Anzivino. I am part of the Tinkering Studio, which is a initiative of the Exploratorium in San Francisco Science Museum in the Bay Area. I'm the professional development lead, and I'm part of a group of people that cares and develops activities that engage children and adults with making and tinkering. Ryoko, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Hi, so my name is Ryoko. I work with Luigi at the Exploratorium Tinkering Studio. I work as a museum educator. So just like Luigi said, we design and develop and facilitate tinkering activities. And I'm so excited to introduce one of my favorite tinkering activities tonight with you all. And I'll pass it to Monique.
Tag, you're it. Thank you, Ryoko. Hi, everyone. I'm Monique Guidry from San Francisco. I'm owner and director of Guidry's Early Care and Education Program and co-founder of the African American Early Childhood Educators. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Sheila?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sheila Norman. I'm a consultant and substitute here with Monique at Guidry's Early Care and learning, education, however it comes out of our mouth. I'm also a community college instructor, and I'm just thrilled to be here and share this with you this evening.
Cool.
Thank you both. We're very excited to have worked with you in the past couple of years and to have you here tonight. So we wanted to start like we do by engaging you all into a tinkering activity. Now, we can't see you over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually engage Sheila and Monique in a tinkering activity, and they're going to play along and do the activity with us. And if you're from home or at your workplace, wherever you're watching this from, we encourage you as well to follow along and grab some materials, try the activity with us that Ryoko is going to introduce in just a second. And if not, maybe you can just see what Sheila and Monique do and learn from their process and their engagement with the activity. So with that, I'm going to let Ryoko take us away.
Okay. So Sheila and Monique, just like Luigi said, what kind of you have a light source here today?
We do.
All right, so we're gonna play. Actually, we're gonna tinker with light and shadow tonight.
Is that too bright or?
Hey, yeah, I see your light. Mhm. And any kind of objects from your home. For example, I have like cups, some kitchen tool, some of my sparkling water. I thought this might cast a interesting colored shadow. Oh, I see what you have.
Well, we have a few things here. We can get more, but we do
Yeah.
have
Things
that was the light source.
and you have piece of paper on your table.
So
And
we're using a wipe off board, a whiteboard. Is that better?
oh yeah, that's a great idea. As long as you can draw something.
Yes.
Yes. And you have a pen?
Yes, we have lots of pins.
Lots of this.
Great. Yeah. So I just wanted to introduce this activity. We use this. We do this a lot in the tinkering studio, sometimes online or sometimes in person. The idea is, tinker with light and shadow. And I have this flashlight, and I'm gonna just close.
Oh, look at that.
I'm gonna share my tabletop.
Oh.
See, this is my, so I actually grabbed lots of different materials like this tape or some kind of like color. And I usually start with just exploring by casting shadows from like different angles, like making it big or small, and see, just enjoy how shadow changes as you move the light.
Yes.
And then today, I actually really liked this because this, like,
That's
really
beautiful.
changes shadow. So I decided to work with this one today. And this is just a plastic cup. And then at some point, it's interesting, like this shadow looks like something to me. I don't know what does this looks like. What does this look like to you? But
Looks like Mexican pastry almost. Like, what do you call conchas or things?
oh, you mean like I just thought about Madeleine. Madeleine, is that how you say it?
Madeline,
Madeline.
yes, yes. We were
That's
thinking
true.
we
Yeah,
both
I
like
see
sweet.
that. Mhm. But then as I was moving the light like around here, and then I stopped my hands, I'm gonna add some of my interpretation to. Oh, maybe you can't see it from there.
Well, it's behind the cup, but we can. Oh,
Oh,
are you making a hot air balloon?
A hot air balloon.
Yes.
I can't show it because if I move this, so I just
I see it. I see it.
and then I'm just combining it with my shadow. And from my perspective, this looks like a hot air balloon, but maybe from you.
Yes, it
No.
It does.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the whole idea. We call this activity shadow remix because you are creating some interesting shadow. And then at some point, when that shadow looks like something to you, you add your own interpretation by drawing on a piece of paper. And then, actually, this is a little bit harder part. You actually need another device to take a photo.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take a photo of what I'm seeing and hopefully I can post it. Okay, I took a photo. So that's the point actually. You're gonna need two phone devices, and actually it's good Sila and Monique, you are working together today. So one person can hold the light and then the other person can probably take a photo.
Yes.
And why we are taking photo is because we have this online place. It's called Padlet. I'm gonna show you. After you take a photo, I want you to share your, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is called Padlet page. This is an online shared platform. And then if you see here on the plus sign, you don't have to create any account or you don't have to sign up anything. You can just post from just pressing this plus button. You can post your photo on this Padlet page. So hopefully we will see how other people are making shadows and interesting shadow remix creations. We can see it on this Padlet page. And I encourage you also to post your creation so that we can see what you took. And I'm gonna just post what I just did it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so let's start working. I have, this is pretty packed, so we have maybe a few more minutes. But
Whoops. Not the strobe light. You want us to start casting shadows?
Explore how shadow
Oh,
changes.
there we go, Sheila.
Oh, look.
Ooh,
Look at that.
Okay, I see something.
Okay, you want me to move something?
No, maybe the light back a little bit? Or no, come closer.
Oh, that's interesting because when you
Wait,
adjust the light,
it changes and it lost what I thought.
okay, well, let's get it back.
Okay, stop right there.
Do you want me to move the mouse?
Yeah.
What are you seeing?
I am seeing, oh, this is it. Oh gosh, I hope this is not backwards. Nope, this is right. I'm seeing a duck.
Mm-hmm.
Quack, quack.
What is that object that you're casting a shadow of? I'm not sure.
It's a cute little glass and a hair clamp. Oh, I see the duck too.
Can you see the duck now?
You got to draw the head though.
Is that the eye?
There's the eye.
Yes.
You don't see it, but yeah.
You don't see it?
No, that's an interesting part. Like it's all about what you see. You know, it's your perspective. So
You like my duck?
I do like your duck.
Thank you. It is a two-tone duck.
Well, give it an eye.
It has to have the eye.
It's got, well,
Yeah.
we wanted to see.
Okay. I like to use different colors.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. All right, you want to move it? You ready to move it?
Okay, you ready?
Go ahead. Oh my goodness.
That's my duck.
Look at the duck.
Can you see the duck?
Okay, it's a duck with
I forgot the tail.
maybe the tail's in the wrong place.
Well, can you put it back in the shadow so that we can see the shadow on it as
You
well?
want to put it back in the Oh. Okay, so when we
Here.
picked it up,
There. No,
Oh,
the other way.
no.
The other way. Nope. Nope, you were right.
that way.
There. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, this is like a puzzle. This is like, I feel
Oh,
like
no,
the
it's
other
a
side
dog.
of my brain.
Wait,
What do you
no,
want us
it was
to
right
see?
here. Push the light back. Okay. Mm-mm.
yeah, and then we just also shared this Padlet link so that the audience can also
Post what they're doing. That would be
I would
wonderful.
love to see
share
what you're
button, so you
doing.
can see it on that Padlet page.
Well, remember you had to move your light back a little bit.
So move it back, like here.
Or come
So are we
closer.
trying to recreate it, Luigi? Is that what you were?
Or you can add to it or try something else. Like you have more
Ooh.
shadow objects and maybe another
What do
idea
you
will
see there?
come to you.
Let me try.
So sometimes like what Ryoko did was to use the shadow as
Black.
part of the drawing so that the part that's on the paper and the shadow kind of work together to create an image.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes you don't really have to trace the shadow because the shadow is there as
Oh, so when we take
So you can
the
suggest
photograph,
part of the drawing and then you can add to the drawing to create a final image. That could be also something to explore.
so that's what you were saying, Ryoko, when it takes the two hands, one to hold the light, one
Yes,
to take the
sometimes-
picture, because you're not, see how we defaulted to just wanting this finished product?
Right.
You know? Okay, so if we have
And
that-
sometimes then you can play also with the placement of the light and the part of the
Yes.
shadow that you
Yeah.
incorporate can kind of modify. For example, when Ryoko was showing her hot air balloon, the balloon could get bigger or smaller depending on the angle of the light.
The basket on his back.
I see a swing, but
A
Can
swing.
I share my screen one more time? I think someone,
Yes.
the audience,
Yeah.
might
Yes, please.
shared something. Mhm.
you want to take a
And just to say that because of the nature of how much we want to share tonight, this is just going to be a quick appetizer
sure,
of an activity.
My screen
There's
could
the hot air
be
balloon.
hot
Yeah.
air
There's
balloon.
the hot air balloon.
Yeah, with just a plastic cup. And I just saw this came in. It's
Oh,
Looks like a pom-pom, yeah.
a pom. Thank you, thank you. Woo, there's another one came. Hi from
look
Oh,
at
it's the
that.
skirt.
I love that.
Oh, I nice.
a doll and a
Awesome.
dress. Wow,
That's
amazing.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I hope you continue to explore these from home, and you too, Sheila and Monique, if you want. We have to kind of move along because we have so much
Absolutely.
to share. But we hope that if you're following from home, you are going to keep playing around maybe as you listen. I am going to share a little presentation that is about what tinkering is, because I don't want to assume that anybody here already knows what tinkering is. And just in the interest of making things a little more visible, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna take you two away. So this is the title of our workshop, but we are here representing the Tinkering Studio and the work of the Tinkering Studio. If you are not familiar with us, we are a space at the Exploratorium, which is a science museum in the Bay Area. And the space is a multi-purpose space where we design and present activities for a lot of people of all ages to engage with science, with art, with technology, and to kind of understand the world around us by making and tinkering. We do things like giant chain reactions that are collaborative. We build ramps and with balls, and and roll them and create ball runs. We create giant stop motion animations. We play around with circuits that incorporate conductive thread or conductive tape, and much more. And we call all of these things tinkering. So the question is, what is tinkering? Well, it's not so much about the activities that we do, it's more about how we approach those activities. So we think that tinkering for us is a hands-on learning process, and it is a way to develop understanding. And crucially, we think that this goes through having direct experiences with real phenomena. We play with actual stuff, and we manipulate it in order to discover something about the world, which is why we tend to really focus on the process that learners go through rather than the product. And Sheila immediately caught herself being a little product oriented while we were actually trying to engage in the process of exploring shadows and light, right? We think that there are 4 really important characteristics of tinkering to keep in mind while we engage learners in this. And these are purposeful play, exploration space, learner choice, collaborative learning. These are a lot of words, so I'm going to explain them very briefly. And again, I'm trying to keep this moving along. When we design tinkering activities, we try to design an exploration space. This means that we think really carefully about what materials we provide, how the space is set up for tinkering, what prompt we give, what do we say, whether people work in pairs or by themselves or in a group. And this is because we want to create the conditions for explorations. Within that exploration space, we care that things stay playful. So we think that this playful attitude, though, should be purposeful, should be aimed at the phenomenon that we're trying to explore. So we want to keep things from going into just unfocused play. We also really, really care that the learner is always in the driver's seat, and so that the goals and the ideas and the interest and the curiosity of the learner is what drives this exploration. And for that reason, we really value that everybody comes up with something different. And you will see in the Padlet a lot of submissions. They will all look different from one another, and that's because each person that's contributing is following their own ideas and their own interests and using their own processes. And finally, we really believe in collaboration when it comes to learning. And this means that both the learner and the educator are tinkering side by side, and they both benefit from trying to make sense of the world together. So, in this way, we are trying to actually achieve some very simple goals. We're trying to achieve a sense of belonging so that learners, whether they're young children or adults, feel like they belong in science and art and making. we want to give people a sense of agency, meaning that they can take action on the world and know it with the resources they already have, believing that they have everything they already need to improve their learning. And finally, we want to instill a sense of joy and enthusiasm for learning. And so you can see maybe from what I'm saying that these are all qualities that make tinkering really well suited for an early learning context, right? Because they match very well with the way that early learning works. And so we try to produce a set of PD modules that we call STEAM starters that try to help educators adapt tinkering to an early learning context. But we ourselves are not experts in early learning education. So to do that, and these are some of the screenshots from the course, we partnered with educators throughout California, and we co-developed these modules with them, so that we tried to make this as responsive to the actual needs of educators in early learning childhood as possible. And here I have to say that this has all been sponsored and made possible by the Department of Social Services, Childcare and Development Division. So our thanks to them. In the multitude of things that we share in this course, one of the things that we share is a process for actually developing and applying tinkering activities. We call this the tinkering cycle. And it's a very simple process, but it is an iterative process, meaning that it is repeated multiple times, and it goes in a very simple way. We start by planning for an activity that explores a phenomenon. This is where we think about materials, we think about what we want learners to engage with, what we think they're going to do, how we want to introduce it, what words we say, right? We make our best guess as to how the learners are going to engage with the phenomena that we want to explore. And then we do it. And in that case, when we do that, our role becomes different. We become facilitators. We are there to support learners. We let them drive the exploration. We follow their path and their interest and their curiosity, like I said. But we don't stop there. After the activity is done, there is a part where us as educators have a moment to reflect. We look at documentations that we took and observations that we made, and we think about what actually happened. Did it match our plan? Did it go the way that we expected it to go? If not, why? And then we think, well, what is it about it that we could focus on for next time? Maybe there is one idea, one concept, one practice that seemed particularly interesting. And that's the relaunch phase, when we go back to planning again, but with this new mindset of, now this time we want to focus on this specific aspect. Now, what could we change in terms of materials or the way that we introduce it or the environment or anything else to help us pursue that? And we keep going in this way to always improve the way that we present these activities and to keep learning about our learners. With that in mind, I want to share now a video that is part of the course. We spent 3 days with Sheila and Monique to document and create a documentation of how they applied this tinkering cycle in their practice with another activity that has to do with balance. I'm cutting off a little bit of the video just in the interest of time because it's about 10 minutes long, but I'm going to play it for you, and hopefully you will get something out of it. And then we will hear from Sheila and Monique directly about that experience and anything else that they got out of it. So without further ado, I'm going to share this tab, and I know that I have to turn it on. There it is. And then I'll play the video for you.
Their thought process. They show you how they're problem solving. They show you their capacity for frustration. The children come right where they are, and it's our job to watch them, notice them, and support them as they take the lead.
The past 3 days has been a journey. We have the San Francisco Public Library bookmobile. I had reached out to Molly and say, hey, we're doing this balance tinkering. Could you bring some books to support that? And she's like, yes, of course. Children went on the bookmobile and she came and read a story about an elephant that had a seesaw and needed help for the other side to balance.
And lion pushed down with all their might.
That afternoon, Sheila and I thought about, okay, so what are we going to do tomorrow?
Do we want to talk about bringing the book to life? We've talked to them about that before. Do we want to retell the story?
Plan A was, okay, we're going to just recreate this just a little bit book, and we're going to have the planks out for them to do their own seesaw.
The learning areas that they'll be strengthening, first of all, is totally collaboration.
Right.
So concepts
Uh-huh.
like tall, taller,
Light.
light versus what, heavy?
Mm-hmm.
Cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
What if they don't bite? What if they don't want to do this plan A to replicate the book, right?
Plan B should be, we should set up multiple areas throughout the yard.
Probably need to start in the morning rereading the story again.
Do you remember what this book was about? The beetle came, they needed one more to make it even on each side to balance the seesaw. Today, we're gonna practice some balancing.
And then we put it down. So your base is the log. What happened next?
Heart. Come on, Kiki Young. I'm going to sit in the middle.
Okay, but wait, in the book, if I'm the elephant, what do you need to balance me? How can you get me up? It's not balanced yet. We wanted, the children to reenact a storybook, and they were not interested. We didn't talk about something really important about balancing. We never talked about gravity. What would have to happen to make the side go down? What could we do to it? It really felt like, oh my goodness, this is not working, because it was, very intentional. It was planned.
And I was still struggling with that science background that it kept, was in the back of my head. And I'm like, Sheila, this is it's not working.
We wanted them to grapple with the concepts of heavy and light and tall and short and balance. We had our adult brains on, and the children surprised us because they went in not a different direction, but it wasn't what we were anticipating. Uh-oh.
Yeah?
What happened? It did fall down again. And you're starting over.
Oh.
I'm surprised about the low level of frustration in this activity. And I'm wondering if it's because they are directing the activity.
It's not teacher directed.
It's not teacher directed. They're not being told what to do.
How
They're
to do
not
it.
being instructed.
And without the stops in the nose.
And without the stops in the nose.
You want to put it on top? So that it's not right.
Timber!
And it's still balancing. Yeah. Here, Shia. Because what did you do with that?
What do you notice here?
On top of each other, and they fell over. KJ, what happens if you add an airplane on top? Will it still be stable?
Yeah.
Let's see. It's still stable. How about if you add a tugboat?
Don't need that.
Teeter. Totter.
You got it.
Tumble. It's exciting. So my wheels are turning like what we need to do differently for tomorrow.
Yes.
I felt like at that moment it wasn't working, but I guess the verbiage The verbiage was missing.
We were doing a lot of talking
Yeah.
and a lot of sharing, but still it was child directed.
Absolutely.
It was child driven. And we were there as facilitators, and we offered them materials. They took it in a direction that you and I didn't even anticipate.
Not at all.
You know?
Yeah.
They just went somewhere totally different with it.
I'm gonna try to balance. Oh, you want to see it? I mean, it even translated to Durai on the rope. She said, I'm balancing my body. They were able to put one leg over the rope and push their weight up and flip. So yes, in theory, it was a success because it just wasn't the tinkering of materials. It was tinkering their whole body.
That was true.
Children are going to bring their own experiences. They're going to grab from their toolbox things that they've learned, things that they've learned from each other and teachers, and they're going to practice it. And it may not look like what we want them to do, but it's still a success because
And they're showing us where they are.
they're showing us where we are. So then I'm going to take back, this is not working.
They showed us their persistence. They showed us their collaboration. They showed us that they could tolerate and grow from cause and effect. This idea of setting up prompts, setting up opportunities, letting the children take it and run with it. This is a game changer.
It is a game changer. You know, I always say even seasoned teachers can learn. I love how it's stretching me.
What do we want to set up tomorrow to build upon, you know, what we observed the children today?
We came up with plan C and then a little bit of plan D. And I noticed the younger children were exploring, but not the way that I know young children like to explore, which is on the ground. So what about on the ground? Why not put materials on the ground for them to explore? And would that give them a different experience? And what about the sandbox? With the sand bringing a different component of weighing, they're able to scoop and pour and scoop and pour. It's coming from them versus the counters. They're just putting on top. You really can't, you can feel the weight as an
Less
adult.
tactile.
Yeah, but as a child, do they really feel and see that weight? We're gonna forego the seesaw, set up the tinkering, a few materials at the table, and expand it to the sand. My only reservation about that is what language do we use to keep them engaged for that balance without it turning into the I'm digging a hole.
So we opened the sandbox, we put some materials in. The children that we thought would gravitate to the sandbox were the first ones there. And it was like, they didn't do any of the things that I thought they were going to do. The interest in exploring balancing is very low in the sandbox. And I actually felt this sense of panic, like, oh my goodness, this is going to flop. They came into the environment and they immediately defaulted into their regular, you know, play patterns. It was the sand, it was the digging. And I'm like, oh my goodness, no, wait, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be tinkering with this balancing stuff.
And then I had an idea about some rocks. Well, we could put the rocks, but how could we use the rocks for balancing? And that's when I had that moment of, well, maybe if I just tinker by myself and ask for a little help, which honestly I did need. What happened? You can tell me, Durai, teach me.
You look me in the middle with the bamboo on top.
Okay, put
And
the
you
bamboo
get
in
a
the middle.
baby.
Okay, sprinkle it everywhere, like this.
Like that.
Oh, you're gonna put a lot at one time?
Slowly down the dirt.
Okay.
Slowly down the dirt. It balanced.
It did balance.
Now put one on the other side.
Put it on the other. You want me to do it? Or are you gonna do it?
You give it. It balanced.
Monique came over and did this incredible modeling to sort of prime, if you will, the shift from the regular play pattern in the sandbox to the exploration. And it became amazing. It turned out to be a rich, rich, rich experience for me because it teaches me to learn about me. I'm constantly growing as an educator. After 30 years, I'm learning new things every day because the children are showing us and guiding us.
It's about that same open-ended concept, but allowing children to explore what's working and what's not working.
African American children are oftentimes viewed as different and not having the same opportunities. There's oftentimes these preconceived notions about children's abilities and capabilities. And tinkering it's universal. Tinkering meets every child where they are. Tinkering is an opportunity. It's a platform for children to demonstrate their brilliance, their imagination. It's liberating. It gives children an opportunity to discover their strengths, to build their confidence, to show themselves in a way that every child, regardless of what they're bringing to the table, can soar.
I'm gonna stop it there. That was it was really awesome to see that again. I know it might be a little awkward to watch yourself on video.
A little bit.
I'm so glad that we have this record of this time. So I'm just gonna let you take it from here, and we have maybe about 10 minutes to share a little bit of something that you wanted to share about what it was like to apply a tinkering cycle and work with young children in this modality of tinkering.
Yeah, I think what I learned through this like amazing, enriching opportunity is that you have to prioritize time. Teachers need time to communicate, to share insights, and to practice, not just their own self-curiosity, but keeping in mind to always follow that child's lead. If you notice, like in the beginning, Sheila and I had, as she kept saying, adult ideas, right? And we kept thinking about what we thought. And, by the end, as we were allowed that wonderful hour to share and communicate with one another, that following the child's leads is always best. And we know that, right? And it just was such an enriching opportunity just to not even as co-teachers, but to see the children expand in different ways. We'll talk a little bit.
But we also talked a lot about how the need to communicate.
Oh, absolutely.
The need to talk. Yeah, we were gifted an hour to sit, to plan, to reflect, to relaunch.
You weren't gifted. You made that hour.
You made
time.
Okay, good point. So to your point, it was prioritized.
We prioritized.
Yes.
We made it important because it's hard being in an early childhood classroom. We know this. There's lots of moving parts. And, when you're working with other adults, sometimes communication becomes a challenge. But if it's prioritized, it becomes a practice rather than a challenge or a barrier that has to be overcome. Even if you're thinking out loud, we work with novice teachers as mentors. Just saying what you're thinking out loud is part of the planning and reflection process too. And I don't think I could say it any better than that, Sheila, in the video. But when you think about the children, it's amazing. These are the type of resources that I envision can shift adults' perspectives around what it means to work with young children, what it means to facilitate their play. Monique always talks about what is the role of the educator. I'm old. I have a very, like atrophied brain. It's like, I want to get it done. I want to see my duck and hold it up and say, ooh, how pretty. But it wasn't about the duck.
No,
And
I think you have to remember the goal.
yeah,
The goal is not about us. And
Mhm.
working with teachers, it's not about your thought, my thought, and getting lost in that. What is your goal at the end of the day?
right.
Mhm.
And it's to
Yeah,
create
and
space. Go ahead, Luigi.
no, I mean, I just for me, the moment that really stands out in thinking back about that experience was that shift that happened when you came to the first planning session with all these concepts and ideas that you wanted children to engage with, because those were the things that our adult brains, as you said, see in a balanced activity, and the children had their own agenda for what they wanted to do. And it took a little effort, and it's something that tinkering allows us as educators to practice, to shift our mindset in that moment and say like, well, but what can we learn about the children by just observing what they're doing? So it's not so much about what are the children learning about the world. Sometimes it's what are we learning about the children too.
Absolutely. I mean, it's because we had infants. What was the little curly, toddlers? We
Toddlers.
had children
1.5.
under age 2 exploring and facilitating and looking at balance. And then we had 4 and 5-year-olds. And we had to get out of their way so that they
Literally.
could learn and they could grow and they could make these neuron synapses firing and all this brain science stuff that we're just starting to think about when we think about children. It's amazing.
And I don't know, maybe you're not monitoring the chat, but you both are getting a lot of kudos from people in the chat for
Thank
for
you.
doing an amazing job following the children and not getting stuck into the original plan. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Oh, thank you so much.
And for the person who's asking which science museum in the Bay Area, Ryoko and I work at the Exploratorium, which is at the Embarcadero in San Francisco. Well, we only have a couple. I know we have only a couple of minutes left, which is too bad because we could talk about this for a long time. But if you had any kind of parting words of practical advice,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was. If you had like parting practical advice for educators that are interested in this, what would it be? What it is something that you found really helpful?
One of the things that came out of this was a quote that was adopted by one of the children. We put it on a bag. It was put on a canvas bag. The child said, "I stayed brave." And I think that's what we have to do as educators as well.
And she was responding to the fact that she was frustrated and things weren't working, but she stayed brave and she kept trying, and eventually she found her way.
She found her way. Yep. I second that. And trust yourself. Trust yourself.
Have fun.
If you can't laugh at yourself, then
yeah, you certainly know how to do that and not take it. I like you both take the work very seriously, but you don't take each other and yourselves very seriously, which is a recipe for success. For sure.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for coming and exploring and learning with us.
Definitely, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time and end on time. I wanted to say, if you are interested in this course that has Monique and Sheila in it, and other educators from all over California, from all different kinds of early childhood education, as well as the Exploratorium Tinkering Studio team, it is available through the Sequel platform, which I believe is California based, but accessible from outside as well if you are not in California. So you can look for it there.
California Early Childhood Online. Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
California Early Childhood Online, correct?
Yes.
And with that, I think we can say goodbye to our audience online. I hope you've had a informative and helpful session with us. I really want to thank from the bottom of my heart Monique and Sheila for taking time out of their busy schedule to be with us and represent, and Ryoko for being at work late at night, helping us through an activity. I hope you got a bunch of stuff out of this. You can reach us at tinkering.exploratorium.edu if you want to find out more about the Tinkering Studio and what we do.
Great.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.